Raleigh Mope sat in his car, eating a taco and reading last week's Auto Trader. The Torino wouldn't run, but Mopes had arranged to park it behind the diner for $12 a week, and he liked to just sit in it from time to time and think about next steps. For sure, one next step would be to acquire a new vehicle, preferably one as slick and nasty as the Torino. Mopes flipped through page after page of tinny little economy cars, looking for something with some oomph. Assholes, he finally said, giving up and tossing the Auto Trader into the back seat. The Torino looked pretty good on the inside, except for the fractured steering wheel and a slight odd twist to the dashboard. His arm was still sore from where the broken steering wheel had gone through it. He flexed his elbow, trying to keep a stone face as pain shot up to his shoulder. Shitter, he said grimly, taking another bite of his taco. It was a good taco, and the little joint down the street sold them for only 50 cents apiece. But it took 5 or 6 of them to fill Mopes up, and he was getting low on dough. He stared across the parking lot at the back door of the diner, wondering if it was worth it to try and steal the cash register. Inside the diner, Alan Broward was eating lunch with some of the investors on his project. He'd arranged in advance for special items to be included in the menu, and he was hoping his guests would think the diner was quaint and charming, instead of the dung pile he thought it was. "Oh, of course," he said congenially to the woman on his left when she asked him if he planned to move to the Las Pavadas Valley after his project was done. Privately, he couldn't wait to get out of this fuck pit. No decent food, no women, not even a movie theater. Nothing here but a bunch of yahoos, oak trees, grass, dirt, and about 1 million fucking turkeys. And somewhere out there, a badger or badgers that he needed to deal with before he could get things moving, before he could get the fuck out. I dropped a lot of F-bombs. He beamed at the woman warmly. "It's just beautiful, don't you think? My wife is going to love it here." He looked down the front of her shirt and wondered if it was worth it to try and fuck her. Even though he was sleepy after eating 7 tacos, Mopes decided to scope out the cash register situation. He climbed out of the Torino, tucked an unlit Camel in the corner of his mouth, and ambled through the back door. A bunch of suits were sitting at the diner's largest booth. "Thank you, Simon." One of them stared up at him when he walked by, but he ignored the look and walked to the counter where the register sat and gave it the once-over. An old National bolted to the counter, too heavy to just grab and run out, like some of those new digital models. A hippie waitress came over, smiling. "Would you like a menu?" she asked him. "No, not today," Mope said. "Need some matches, though." The hippie waitress looked at him sadly. "Cigarettes are terrible for you," she said. "You should just quit right this minute." "Yeah," said Mopes. "I'll do that." "So, matches?" The girl shook her head but handed him a plain white matchbook from under the counter. As he walked out the back door, he noticed that same suit staring at him again, a little smile lifting one corner of his mouth. Alan Broward watched Mopes leave, grinning to himself. That old boy just cased the joint. He turned once more to look at the tits of the woman on his left. "Excuse me," he said, as he leaned into her and reached across the front of her chest for the salt. Back in the Torino, Mopes fought the urge to return to the diner and punch the suit square in the mouth. "Looking at me, motherfucker? See something green, do ya?" He flexed his hand again and decided that entering a fracas in his current disabled state was maybe not the best plan. He lay back and closed his eyes, imagining himself fully recovered, storming into the diner, shirtless, biceps glistening, dragging that suit out of the booth and stomping around on him for a while, and then tearing the register out by its roots and carrying it off full of money to his miraculously restored Torino and driving away in a spray of gravel. When Broward tapped on the window, Mopes jumped about a foot. "Fuck," Mopes said, rolling it down. "Good afternoon," said Alan Broward. "Might we have a brief conversation?" Mopes stared at him for a moment and then gestured to the passenger seat. "Oh, certainly not here," Broward said. "We'll be needing some privacy. Meet me at 4 o'clock, drive west out of town, park at the Turkey Creek Bridge, and walk up the trail. I'll find you." "Fuck that," Mopes said. "I don't know you, and I ain't going all up in the woods with you. That's damn weird." Broward leaned into the open window and said, "Listen, you little dickhead. I've got a very lucrative proposition for you, and it would behoove you to do what I say. And when I say lucrative proposition, you fucking Neanderthal, I mean there's money in it. And by behoove, I mean get your ass to Turkey Creek Bridge at 4. Broward stepped back from the car and straightened his tie in the reflection of the Torino's unscathed quarter panel. "Enjoy the day," he said, and walked away. Thank you.